there's only two sides to the climate emergency. So you either ignore it or you take action to fight it. And in the next few minutes, we're going to see the impact that printhead cleaning can have on the environment, but also in your business as part of the sustainable inkjet industry. So I really like to thank FuturePrint for having us here talking about this matter, and I also appreciate your attention so much. So climate change is clearly evident. We can feel it in the weather changes, in the temperature in the planet. We can feel it in our daily lives and the lives of our loved ones. And it's affecting more and more industries and sectors. And it's causing them to rethink some of their strategic lines. So also, most of the international organizations have been warning about it for quite some time now. For example, the World Meteorological Organization stated that 2023 has been the hottest year in history, since records have been kept, and this is back 1850s or so. Also, if we look at almost any pollutant on the World Bank database, we will find out that they've been dramatically rising since the 90s. So this is nitrous oxide, we have methane emissions, CO2 emissions, and this one is a key indicator, which is total greenhouse gas emissions, rocketing since at least the 90s. And if we look at the last part of it, the last 4 to 8 years, the curve is bending, and the slope is pointing downwards. This means that action and effort taken by industry is having some positive effect. So this brings us to an economic perspective of the problem. And this is not the only good news. This is a report from the International Monetary Fund. This is 3 months ago, December 2023, and is stating that the benefits of accelerating the climate transition already outweighed the cost of it. So this means that investing wisely in a sustainable business will pay off in the long term. And all this data does nothing but back up our thesis that printhead cleaning can have an amazing positive impact on the environment and also directly and indirectly in your businesses. So I'll try to explain how our thesis. Our thesis is that in the recent years, we have introduced in the market around 475 printhead cleaning systems. If we assume that each one of these systems cleans 1 printhead per day, which is well below the normal working rate of these systems, and they do so for 365 days, which is also feasible because they are automatic and unattended. Can you come up with the sum in your head, off the top of your head? This is about 173,000, more than 173,000 printheads per year that will not be discarded, that they will not pollute the environment with the plastics, metals, circuit boards, glues, epoxies, the chemistry inside. So let's try to imagine, this happens also because we have to put into value that there's actually no company capable of recycling the printheads. So we clean them and we prevent them to go to waste. Let's try to imagine how many 173,000 printheads are. If we take, for example, a widely known printhead, like Seiko's RC1536, these printheads it measures around 15 by 4 centimeters at its base. If we were to line them up as if they were ready to print, all of the 173,000 printheads, can you imagine the equivalent area this would be? You are about right. That would be 5 full tennis courts of the plain printhead. On top of this, we need to add the plastics associated to the packaging and cardboard. So this is the huge impact we can achieve by cleaning one printhead per each cleaning system every year. And on top of that, we are preventing the printhead, the carbon printhead, excuse me, the carbon footprint and all the pollution associated with the production of new 173,000 printheads that need to be created to replace the old ones. So this is the huge impact that a simple thing like cleaning your printheads can have on the environment. Now, let's discuss the cost for your company of being able to have such a great impact on the environment. How much would it cost to be able to do this? Let's take, for instance, the 100% budget for new printheads for a given company, 2023. So a company spent any amount of money on new printheads in 2023. If they would have just cleaned 20% of the printheads that were replaced, they would have saved 20% of the budget. And this is simple. It's just because cleaning a printhead is much cheaper than buying a new one with any discount you may have. These numbers are accurate on average, but I encourage you to make your own numbers. And it's most likely a bigger saving than this. And you can even take this action one step further by trying to clean them all before replacing them, cleaning 100% of your printheads. Or you can even take this action one step even further by having your own cleaning system at your facilities that would reduce the time and the cost of the cleaning, that would reduce the carbon footprint of sending the printheads back and forth, and would ensure that you will always have clean printheads at hand. So knowing all this information, there's a quote I really love from my colleague Roberto. Those who know Roberto know what I'm talking about. And he likes saying that knowing all this, it's our moral duty to save money. So here, at this point, you may be thinking that is this really feasible? Is it reasonable to think that we can use clean printheads just like new printheads? Well, to know that, we need to dive into the cleaning process. So the printhead cleaning process isn't smooth, it's a delicate process in which there's a certain combination, an optimized combination of pressure, time, and the cleaning products. So we also try these cleaning products to be the less aggressive possible with the environment. So we have time, we have pressure, and we have temperature involved in the process. And this process is optimized for each single printhead model. And most of the times, this process is developed along with the printhead provider, with a printhead manufacturer. So that's how this process feels almost like a spa treatment for the printhead, and the printhead just enjoys the process and gets ready to get back to work. And this is the only way that we can have some of these samples. We can have the printheads that are printing 28% or maybe 46% of it, and we can get them to work perfect. And this is the only thing that can be called a clean printhead. A printhead that's got 100% of the nozzles working correctly and not deviated. So this is what we should call a clean printhead, a printhead that is ready to jump back to work. This process, this optimized process, is so trusted by those who clean printheads that we sometimes receive printheads like this one to be clean. Of course, there's nothing we can do about this, because cleaning is not about refurbishing, it's not about dealing with electronic failure, it's not about replacing parts. It's a process in which we clean the inlet and the outlet, we clean all the inner fluidic channels and ink paths, and we make sure to get rid of deviated nozzles and try to unclog the rest of the nozzle so it works perfect. These are some of the reasons why printhead degradation happen. And you all know this, and you all have dealt with this. But let's take, for instance, lack of printer maintenance or palliative maintenance, which to me is about the same as when the quality guys raise up their hands and start yelling because the product is not acceptable. And then we jump in the press, the printer, and we start pushing buttons, cleaning printheads, and it usually ends up switching printheads for the old ones for the new ones. So a good preventive maintenance routine would be to have a couple of spare printheads clean outside the machine, ready to jump in just in case. Or even better, to swap them when you have the chance for the 2 worst printing printheads in the press. So you ensure that your quality, the quality of your product, will be constant at a high level. And you also decrease the cost, the total cost, and the total downtime of your printer. So other problems related to the working environment, which you know we have some industries around here that are not really clean, and that does not help at all the printhead to make the function, the right function. Printers that are not active for a long time also tend to get clogged and have some printing problems. But the main problem is somehow always related with the ink. So ink, first of all, needs to be certified by the printhead provider, by the printhead manufacturer. Please try not to use anything that is not being certified by the manufacturer, because it will have some effects for sure in the long run. Even if you have certified ink with you, when certifying inks, there's also a variety, a widespread of qualities. And sometimes cheap can also turn expensive in the long run. And of course, if you have chosen your ink, keep it in the right conditions to be fed to the press or to the printer. So do not use them if they are expired, and try to have them in the right conditions of shaking and temperature for feeding it to the press. There's also some nice machinery that can take care of this for you. And all the new inks, some of them are quite delicate and need to make sure that we use them properly. So all the inks that have a short open time will require from you to be a bit more careful on the usage. So even with all these dangers threatening our printheads, I'd like to present you our case of success that we are having with the RC1536. For this printhead, there's an average cleaning time of 48 hours. And also we have a cleaning effectiveness ratio of 93%, meaning that out of 100 RC1536 that we clean, we get 93% of them, we had 93 perfect, ready to jump in. So yes, answering to the initial questions, yes, it is feasible, and yes, it is reasonable to think that we can work with clean printheads as if they were new. And this 93% effectiveness ratio is due to 2 factors. The first one is the effort that we've put on optimizing the process, the cleaning process. But also the second factor is the willingness of Seiko to design a printhead that is easy to clean. So Seiko is also one of the stakeholders in the inkjet industry that has got a huge and public green policy, and it strongly feels that being on the sustainable inkjet will pay off on the environment and will give value back to society and also to the customers. And building trust in customers will be really important for the next years, since, well, this is some other infographics showing how their policy reflects on their product. So I hope I've been able to show you how by joining the sustainable inkjet industry, you will be able to have such a great impact on the environment and also a good impact on your business. And please keep an eye on sustainable inkjet as a strategic line for the years coming. And also, the more stakeholders that join this trend, the bigger the synergies we will have. So now, and that you can take a look at this sustainable inkjet matter from another point of view, from another stakeholder point of view, my friend, Dr. Miguel Ramon, will explain how Seiko transfers this philosophy, this green philosophy, into their products. So thank you so much.
Muchas gracias.
Perdona que me lo he dejado.
Muchas gracias. So, good afternoon to all of you. Thank you for coming here to this lovely day. Much less windy than yesterday for those of you that were in the area also. Very, very windy. Today it's more like Spain, yeah. So, as Edgar was mentioning, there are some cases, I guess, in which even with people and technologies, printheads cannot be recovered. So we have been listening to the market in the last few years to several topics that have been raised to us, improvements that we could be making in our printhead for it to hopefully last longer, okay? So there are several things. We have a printhead on the tabletop over there, which is RCH, is the model, and it has a metallic nozzle plate, which is a common comment we have heard in the market. The feeling is that this is going to last longer, it is stronger, it is more sturdy for rough environments. So we listen to the market in this respect. So metal nozzle plate. Another common comment from the market is the drop density variation, which you may have heard as a smile effect or the frown effect, which has to do with the difference in drop velocity and drop volume along the printhead. And finally, we will also discuss stronger glues and stronger epoxies to have compatibility with more fluids in the printhead. So in this case, this is the first time that a shear mode actuator printhead is being able to work with a metallic nozzle plate. It has been quite a challenge to get the gluing process to work in such a structure. So we have the piezo is physically attached to the metallic nozzle plate, and it's a very, very good union, let's say. So we have the flexibility needed for it to actuate, of course, but very importantly, we have a backwards compatibility. So this printhead can work in the same place that you had a non-metallic nozzle plate printheads. So we have full backwards compatibility, and we are quite confident that this is going to be stronger for very difficult fabrication sites, for example, ceramic, like we were discussing. So our colleagues in Japan did a trial, for example, with this kind of material, which is not the correct one to do cleaning of the printhead. And we tried to do hardness scratch test in our lab. So they did a lot of this for several days, our colleagues. So we tried to get representative data of, I guess, the way the printhead is actually working in the field, because it's not working the way we think from the Japanese laboratory. So we got some data, for example, this is the normal, this is the deviation in the nozzles before and after cleaning the surface, like you have seen in that video. And we have very, very little deviation in the jetting. This printhead is being able to last much longer with a straight jetting, even after the very harsh cleaning conditions, which are the real conditions that we see in many sectors, actually. this is what the market was telling us, is that the printhead starts printing very, very well, but after many times of cleaning in not maybe the best conditions, but this is the way the market works, they started seeing this kind of effect. So what we did is we tried to replicate the not very good cleaning methods, and this is the result for the metallic nozzle plate printhead. We get much straighter jetting, same volume. We are quite happy with the solution. Then there was another common topic that we discussed when you are printing very solid images, for example, in tiles. Sometimes you can see a bit of an effect of different drop volume along the 108 millimeters of the actuator. And this has to do with a very complicated, how much each channel is actually working, let's say. So it has to do with the evaporation of the cathode, that has to do with how do we actuate each individual channel. And in some cases, we don't have exactly the same thickness to some of the layers. So we have improved this on the very back of the laboratory, starting with the mask, evaporation. So this has been, it sounds like it's not an easy solution at all, this drop density variation. We have gone back to the, thank you, to the drawing board to really get this fixed. So now we have a much flatter printing solution. As you can see, these are initial measurements taken in the lab in Japan for the 1 DPD and for the 7 DPD drop. This is kind of the image that maybe customers were talking about to us, about the frown effect. And this is, with the new evaporation method, we are getting much straighter jetting. So very similar volumes, very similar drop velocities. And finally, another topic that we have heard about has to do with this fluid compatibility. We are compatible with many fluids, but as of recently, there are more aggressive fluids that are coming in several sectors. For example, glass printing, in which some of the fluids, they have to dry much faster. So they are using solvents. I call them more aggressive. I guess it means they dry faster also. They work on these kind of surfaces. So something we needed to also go to the very back of the research. We needed to find glues and epoxies that can work with stronger solvents. And that is something that we have also done. And now we can safely say that we have inks that work, for example, for printing on glass, or third fire inks in general, which was a difficult topic for quite a while. So this is something else that we have managed to fix. So these are the three things that we have been able to do, listening to the market, listening to the comments we get from the field, let's say. We have fed this information back to the offices, to Seiko Group, and we have made these modifications, and we have the printhead over there if someone is interested in seeing it. So we started a long time ago in the year 2000, wide format graphics, coding and marking. 2010, we also started working in ceramics, textile, decor, and now, as you can see, we have added the new corrugated. Many of you are talking about this corrugated market. So we think that we can be a very useful partner for some of your projects in collaboration with this inkjet sector that I think is going to grow a lot. It's not going to be the solution to everything, but I think with a lot of collaboration, it's something we can do. So thank you very much for listening.